Yes, good evening. This is Brother Benson Media, and today is a Wednesday. We are blessed to have this opportunity to have a discussion that is geared to the betterment of our country. With me here are my good panelists, Mr. Barak and Mr. Miguda. And maybe to our viewers who will be joining, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome them to the show and they feel at home. Maybe Mr. Barak, you can say hi.
Hello and greetings to all our viewers. Welcome to Brother Benson Media, where your views counts. And we am so happy to join this session and feel at home, feel welcome, and looking forward to having a very interactive session. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Miguda, you can also say hi.
Hi to our viewers, panelists, Mark and Barak. Barak, you have been missing for a while. Karibu, welcome back in the show. To our viewers, welcome and let's have a very vigorous and interactive session. Welcome all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miguda and Mr. Barak, for finding time to be with us this evening. I just wanted us to have a discussion on what has been trending about the visit by the religious leaders. They were invited to the State House. And, some few days ago, we've been having a conflict between the president and the religious leaders, where the religious leaders came out to, speak about the inabilities, everything that they're seeing the government is not doing right. And, the people in government did not really find, those comments well. And they came out to also give their opinion. And so this is something that has been trending. And if you can remember, this is not the first time that the president was inviting the religious leaders. Not so long ago, sometimes back, they were invited. They had a discussion about matters concerning the country and the running of the country. And the president promised that, he'll be engaging the religious leaders and that all the proposals that they brought forth, they will look into all those proposals. After some times, they were not the issues that they addressed were not really looked into by the president, and that angered them. And again, the issue of sadaka, hii sadaka yenye inalipwa pia, it has been an issue, and people have been having different mixed reactions. And these are the things that I wanted us to have a look at this evening. We're also being told that the Catholic bishops refuse, they were also invited, but they did not turn up. And remember, the president was, some few days ago, the Catholic bishops had a conference and they spoke very, 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 with a lot of, strength, trying to tell the president that he should wake up and he should ensure that, he leads by example. All these things we've not seen, and maybe this is the reason why the Catholic bishops did not attend or did not, accept the invitation. And so, my first question to you, Mr. Meguda and Barak, is what are your thoughts on the visit by the religious leaders to the State House? Mr. Barak?
Well, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Miguda, for the warm reception. And I think the Ruto's administration came in office courtesy of the evangelical churches and Pentecostal, and you see those are the ones who went to State House today, and he really rode on their shoulders. And these church leaders were used to mobilize their members to support Ruto's candidature because they branded Raila as a demonic person who represent the devil. So Ruto was the God chosen, and that's why they rallied their members to support Ruto, and they had their own way of explaining their points to their members. And the way we are socialized in this country is that you don't question your religious leader. Whatever he tells you, you agree, and you don't even ask why. So if you are told Raila is a devil, you say yes, he's a devil. So Ruto is a God chosen, you say yes. So you find that this kind of mobilization really worked in favor of Ruto because Ruto really he knows how to whip the emotions of the masses, and it works in their favor. And now, when Ruto wants the presidency, the evangelical leaders, the evangelical church members, they saw that they took the Ruto's presidency as their presidency because they played a critical role to ensure that Ruto wins the presidency. So when Ruto was just getting into the presidency, everything was very good because it's like they were in honeymoon. But when things started going south, remember they disappeared from the scene. And you remember even during the Gen Z's protest, no evangelical leader came out to say either to support or the government tax policies or to support the Gen Z demonstration or to even to say anything, even to comment. They disappeared. And until Ngachuk was impeached, now we started seeing some evangelical leaders starting to criticize Ruto because of the Gachagwa's impeachment. Now, when Catholic bishops came out strongly to criticize the government, and remember they were saying very critical issues that this government, the promises is based on lies and misplaced priorities and unfulfilled promises. These are three critical issues that any serious Kenyan, you took a step back and analyzed these Catholic bishops, whatever they are talking about, are they making sense? And even the evangelical leaders now they gathered some strength to join the Catholic bishops because these were critical issues. Remember, we are having a regime that lacks credibility. When a president even goes when the president was in Germany and they had a meeting with the German government, and the president announced some kind of working arrangement with the German government, and the German government had to clarify about what they discussed in the meeting. That cast credibility. They raises credibility questions about your government. The president is the symbol of the nation. In fact, when he goes out as the country. He's the one who represents us. He's the topmost envoy or ambassador of the country. So when your credibility is being questioned, it's a tragedy for a country. And I think when now the evangelical churches joined the Catholic bishop in trying to say that, okay, we have issues with this government, and even though the Catholic bishops were being bashed by the Kenya Kwanza had supporters, like you remember Gladys Boshule, the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah, they were not denying that these issues are existing. They were just saying that the forum that the Catholic bishops are using was not the right forum because they could secure an appointment with the president and talk to the president in privacy. And if you keep on talking to someone in private, and whatever you discuss in private is not being implemented, then you have to come out clearly, because these church leaders, they are representative of the society. They have to call out the government if things are not going right in the society. So they have a major role to play. If you look at the state, the church and society relations, and the state society relations. So when now Ruto comes, maybe he realized that things are not right with his former let me just call them allies, religious allies. Those are evangelical churches, Pentecostals, and those traditional churches. he had to call for a meeting at State House. But since the Catholic bishops are the ones who raised these issues, I believe that they did right by not attending the meeting. That's first of all, because the response that the government gave when the Catholic bishops raised those issues was not a good response, because that was the right time for president to call for a meeting after the Catholic bishops raised those issues. They could have called for a meeting immediately instead of allowing his foot soldiers to bash them and to call them names. And even when they raised issues of corruption and these donations that are sources are not known, instead of the government to acknowledge that there's something is wrong, they went on bunch saying that you can return the money and will take them somewhere else. So it's like chest stamping between the state and the Catholic Church. So I think that for them not attending the meeting, they were also sending a message that we are not desperate to go to State House, and we have a role to call out the government, and whenever they are going astray, and we are representing the society, the masses, because if when the government is going rogue, and the opposition voice was already silenced, then the church has to raise up and fill that vacuum that was left by the opposition. So that was a good move, but I don't see anything good, anything new, or anything tangible coming out of a meeting between President Ruto and the evangelical churches. Because remember, these are the people who campaigned for him. These are the people who turned their churches to be UDA campaign rallies. So there is nothing new or nothing tangible that we can expect from that meeting, apart from photos and maybe having tea and brown envelope. Nothing. There's nothing else that can come from that meeting, and that's why I think that's why the Catholic bishops refused to go to that meeting. Back to you, Mark. And thank you so much, Gypsy Corner, for your comment. I'm so happy to be back.
Okay, thank you. Brother Ben, I'm the host today, so I'm coming to you.
That's why I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah. The issue of religious leaders, religious leaders in the times during Moi's reign, they were seen as, protectors or defenders of human rights. And there's a good number of them that we can point out, the likes of, Bishop Ndindi, Mwana Wanzeki, the SEK one who was also killed, was coming from the Rift Valley. There were a good number of religious leaders who stood and really defended the rights of the people of Kenya. This traction, we lost the traction along the way. When Kibaki came in, some of them, we did not see a vibrant religious leader who were then fighting for the rights of the people. But then during the government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, they started slowing. And then when it came to William Ruto's president, the president actually used the religious leaders to get to the State House. And so we are here. We got to a point where the religious leaders were even defending the president, defending the government. They were no longer defending the rights of the people until lately, when the Catholic Church and some religious leaders started coming out to clarify that the government and the religious leaders, these are two different entities, and that the religious leaders have a role to play. They are not supposed to be just supporting the government. This has brought a lot of conversation in the Republic of Kenya. So my question to you, Brother Ben, is, with the Catholic Church deciding not to attend the meeting, should we then say that they have realized their role as a religious leader is to defend and to criticize when there is need, but not just to keep on being close to the government without pointing out those things which the government is doing right? Under this government, we've seen killings, we've seen abductions, As religious leaders, they have a role to, safeguard the lives of the people as well, and to remind the people in leadership that you have to protect life. What is your take, Mr. Ben, when it comes to the role of the religious leaders in trying to, point out the issues that the government are supposed to be doing?
Okay, so I might have like two views in terms of the religious. When you look at when they went to the state house, maybe they went to the state house as a way of um, invitation. Yeah, so maybe president was very selective on who should be going to the state house. So that's why maybe the Catholic bishops, especially the Catholics and the Pentecostal, majority of them, including Olisapet, did not attend it. Maybe they were not invited because they've been right now, very critic of the president. That is one. Secondly, there might be invitation, but they decline. Reason being that they've already communicated to president what he needs to do. So there was no need for us again to come for meeting, because even if we meet, we've told you, yeah, these are what we've told you, like about concerning the donation, concerning about the public trust with the people, concerning about issue, even accusing him of lying. So the information is there. So going to the state house had no meaning, or was not going to add value. Then on the other side, I want to bring the politics in it, because if you realize on how president do his politics, yeah, president is he sits down, and when somebody is criticizing him, he will find he wants that person who is criticizing him to come on the table. Is either coming on the table to be given position in the government, or to be given maybe a token, or to be talked to, because we've seen that several times. Remember, during the Gen Z, the LSK president lady was very vocal and was doing amazing job. So she was on the limelight through social media. But what happened? The president constituted a committee that was going to investigate the public debt. And what happened? Faith was there. Yeah. And by Faith being there, because like now the public was seeing Faith as a performer, now he needs to come to the president. And when she comes to the president, that is one way of silencing you, or not making you to criticize the president. And he has done it so many times. And now that is part of it. Now, when it comes to politics, you know, politics, you look at, you've talked about on how the churches have been used. When you look at the Moi era, the churches were very particular on what they were doing, because they used to fight for human rights. You can talk to Reverend Timothy Njoya. He has a very good history of this country, especially as somebody who is a Christian and human rights defender. They did not find time to have a discussion with the president. At no time. They would criticize, and at the same time, they would congratulate where they are doing good. When the President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto were coming into power through in 2013, that's where the politics shifted to the church. And because it was a prayer moment, in that there was something before them, the ICC case. And that's why si uchawi, si maombi. And from there, it was made the major public to believe that you can win with prayers. So from there, the politics have really shifted, not only with the president, even with the other side of the political divide. When you look at the campaigns that we usually have nowadays, the songs that are being played are Christian songs, because that's where the majority is, and that's how they can be gathered. Remember, the Azimio used, hii ni wakati unaona bado zikibadilika, unaona, tumeuona, that is yeah. So you find that even the campaign songs have gone through the Christianity. And if you look at Christianity very well, it has always been believed that the larger population of the people who are going to church, especially when you come to Pentecostal church, hii tunaita kanisa za kiroho na za kulia are the vulnerable. Then those churches, hii ya kupanda mbegu, because in Catholic we don't panda mbegu, in Adoen we don't panda mbegu. Kupanda mbegu imekuja kwa hizi kanisa ambao zimekuja after independence, and they know on how to lure people because people are vulnerable. Mtu akwambia panda mbegu utapata gari, saa zingine hauna kazi, nani hataki gari? Yeah, so the president has used that. So them going, it's to encounter the other partners. So if you say that president is accusing president of being lying, they will say the president is saying the truth. The president will give them the money, the president will not give the Catholic the money. So it's a tactic of politicals of divide and rule, to neutralize anything that talks about it. And that is one way in which president, if you're very keen on how president plays it politics, that's what I can say.
Okay, thank you, Brother Ben. You've talked about something which is very critical. We've seen the president trying to, silence his critics by, proposing to them that, they're being given some goodies. We saw that during the Gen Z's time. We saw that is the tactic that he used to lure Raila until Raila got into that box. And so many others, especially those people that, the people are talking about, those people that the people of Kenya were seeing as their defenders, You've mentioned about the LSK president as well, During that time, she really defended the rights of the people and she stood by the people. And so, Mr. Barak, I'm coming to you.
There's Miguda.
Okay, Miguda is back. I'll go to Miguda first. This issue of president trying to silence his critics, to me, I'm seeing it in a different perspective, because if you can remember the times of Moi, if you were a critic of Moi, he would deal with you. He would either sack you, or he would, if you are a very influential person or within the government, utanyang'anywa the security. And then he'll try to impose someone in your constituency who will be who will somehow act as if he or she is taking your role. And that is dictatorship. In what, how do we then term or call this the tactics that the president is using to silence his critics by trying to give them positions or some goodies? Isn't this not dictatorship, Mr. Megoda? What is your take on that? And then you can also give us your opinion on, your whole view of the meeting that the president had in the State House with the religious leaders, in absence of the Catholic, leaders who were not actually seen there.
Let me begin with the first question you have asked about the president trying to silence the people or trying to reach the people whom he sees as threat to his presidency. Sometimes rewarding other people, sometimes trying to maybe offer them certain, he can offer them in terms of contract, like the way he did to the ODM experts. What I want to say, the president, what you refer to as the modern dictator, modern dictatorial state, whereby what Moi used to do previously, Mr. President is currently executing it modernly in a way that people cannot see through the line. What Moi used to kill people, the way you have said. Moi used to maybe fire people in the position. Right now, Mr. President is trying to make people to be safer. The reason could be Moi used a repeal constitution, the constitution we had before the 2020 constitution. With the current constitution, with basic human rights and fundamental freedoms, the United Nations Charter, with all those universal declaration of human rights, civil and political rights, it's very hard for Mr. President William Ruto to do exactly what Moi used to do. That's why when he identified you and realized that you have potential and you know exactly what you should do, he's taking his time by one, inviting you to have a talk and try to question you on whatever you are saying so that you can present to him, or it can give you pressure the way they gave Cherrafo. I've been saying here, Marco Bura, time that number that if I could be among the commissioners, me, I could have not resigned because I got full protection by the law. And today I don't understand how those guys resign. Those are the pressure they're trying to, because right now, even if you try to fire me, there's no way you can fire me. I'll go to court. You have seen many scenarios whereby people do go to court when they are fired, when they are being threatened. You go to court because the court will protect you. Even right now, if those people who are fired from the office of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, when he was going after he was impeached, remember Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, but not the people working in that office. Those people, some of them are right now in court. They are contesting why they were impeached, why they were sent away, or why they were sent for leave. Right now, the current constitution cannot allow someone maybe to execute killings of people or to fire people left, right, and center without that, because people knows their right, people understand the constitution, people understand the three arms government, judiciary is very functioning, people can go to court and they can contest whatever Mr. President with them. That's why Mr. President is trying to do what he's doing, but you will see that the people who are clever enough, they are not going to fall into his trap. But the people who have put their interests out of the country, the people who are not patriotic, obviously they will fall to his trap, and that's why it will continue. That's why we want to tell people that you should not fear anything. Just be patriotic, love your country, and do the right thing because you are fully protected by the law. It is not the president who protects you or the police or the state. It is the rule of law that protects you. That one aside, in my view of invitation of the religious leader into State House, I'll stand guided. Maybe the next speaker will guide me. I don't understand Pentecostal, evangelical, and Protestants. I don't understand whether they are in the same category as Protestant or evangelical and Pentecostal are separate from Protestant. The reason why I'm saying that, because in Protestant churches, there are churches which have not engaged the president. The churches which have seen engage the president are the evangelical and Pentecostal. Reason here is these people have been calling out the president, and you heard or you watched when they call out when the religious leader call out some issues, the president, full soldiers, responded, calling out religious leaders to be tribal. They were now trying to bring religious leaders into politics. They should be distinct. And today in my submission, I just want to be realistic. Makubura, we said to us that there should be a distinction between the state and religion. The state should be different from religion, and it should be understood. After the state has exist, there's a religion. And in our country, Kenyan, being a republic, we are not a state republic. Yes, not an Islamic state. Yes, not a Christian state or a Hindu state, whereby you want to incorporate religious practices or religious customs into state. Like, for example, if you go to this Islamic state, there are some rules they have incorporated in their country that you cannot drink alcohol, you cannot have pork as meat. Reason being, they have introduced the culture of the religion into the state. We do not want a scenario whereby we are introducing the culture of a religion into the state because of our diversity in religion and in tribal. If you want to introduce the culture of the state or religion to the state, like some of us, we don't eat from Friday up to Sunday. We don't eat cooked food. How many people will not eat that one? There are some things which are not practical currently with the emerging issues. But us, we are very clear that Kenya is not a state religion. There shall be no state religion in this country.
this country, and you underline the word shall, there shall be no state religion. There is no option. We have to live with the fact that we don't need to have a state religion. We have freedom of worship, Islamic, Hindus, pagans, traditions, even the Christians, they have their freedom to worship. And that's why I've been insisting on using the doctrines of Christians, Islamic. They let them have their doctrines aside. Let them not introduce this thing into the state because it brings more of a confusion. But most importantly, Makobura, the way I want to be realistic today is because I have a problem. I have a problem with these religious leaders in the country because when Uhuru and Ruto came to power, they were pro TNA URP government. Then they were pro Jubilee government. But when Raila shook hands with the Uhuru Kenyatta, they sidelined Uhuru Kenyatta with Raila together, and they're now supporting William Ruto. They were with William Ruto until William became the president. When Raila has gone into more of a handshake with William Ruto, they have also sidelined William Ruto now. They are siding with the opposition. Their current position right now is opposition. Initially, their position was the position of the government. They were supporting status quo. I remember even during the presidential election petition at Supreme Court, even before the verdict by the Supreme Court judges, you heard them saying that accept and move on. Some of them visited Raila at his current residence and advised Raila to withdraw the case from the Supreme Court. My question is, or my worry is, why is it that whenever Raila is, these religious leaders try to sideline and oppose that formation? I don't know, because I don't know how they view Raila in context of Kenyan politics. There is no scenario where they have supported Raila. They have opposed Raila even whenever Raila has moved to court, because it is very clear in the constitution that if you feel that your election has been stolen, the only jurisdiction where that case can be heard is the Supreme Court of the Republic of Kenya. If Raila has a right to go to court, he has moved to court, then they tell Raila to withdraw the case. That is, according to me, that is not being liberal as religious leader. That's why I still insist, and I still believe that let us distinct religion to be religion and state to be state. Let them not try to mix up things to confuse people. And also those religious leaders who are fond of friending the state. You heard what happened during the Gen Z protest. Whenever there was some protests, and those are one of the issues, fundamental issues that were laid down by the Gen Z, is that this issue of politicians going to church, we do not want it. I don't know how other churches work, but let me just give you how we operate as the church, because I was born in that church, I was brought up that, I understand it. According to us, number one, and you know this one, we discussed this with you, us in our church, we don't allow politicians. And I'm speaking with authority and without any fear of consequences, because that is what is in the doctrines and fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There is no room for politicians, even Mr. President. Even if he comes today in his church, he will not speak. They will just recognize him that there is Mr. President, can you greet people? Then you sit, take your seat. That's why they don't come to SDA. Number one, that's number two. If you have any donation, like when Matangi was the CS for Interior, whenever he was visiting SDA church, there was a time he even brought to us Uhuru Kenyatta at our union, West Kenya Union, that is in Kisumu. They never spoke. Whatever they donated, we don't tell the people that they have given out 10 million, 2 million. No. That is Sadaka. It is secret. We take it. We don't even count that. We will just do it later as the church member. Then if today you go, one day if you get your time, you go to Kisumu, or when Brother Benson will go to Uzima to visit Ogola, accompany Benson, then after you have visited Uzima, then go to West Kenya Union. You will see how that union has been constructed. That money was donated by Uhuru Kenyatta plus Matiang'i and other people, but we never announced the amount which were given We never. That's how we treat them. You will not speak, number one. Number two, we will not announce whatever you're given. Then currently, we do not need those, like, you don't need ushers or treasurers to tell the people what you have contributed. And even right now, if I like me, sometimes if I fail to go to church, I can just go online. I just follow online. I'll follow Nairobi Central online or New Life SD online. If I have my Sadaka, we have introduced a system in our church whereby you just pay Lipa na M-Pesa, even at home. You just pay your Sadaka, then it will reflect into the general conference. That's how we do it in our church. So what I was trying to bring out, and this is why I brought the issue of our church, is because there is nowhere we are in with the state. The only part we are with the state, because I've also worked in that church very well. There are some parts where you can work. The only room where we are sharing with the state is that we pay taxes. We pay 60% VAT. We do pay. That is the only place we will meet the state, because we understand also in the Bible, Mark Oburanda, you're a good Christian, that Jesus Christ taught us that give Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give God what belongs to God. So in reference to Jesus Christ's teachings, we usually give state what belongs to the state and God what belongs to God. Out of our contributions, we usually give 60% to the government through value added tax. There is no, that's how it should be. There should be nowhere where there is just linkage between the state and religion. You should work independently, and state should work independently. That's how we can solve this issue of the state and religion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Migud. Mr. Barak, if you're there, the religious leaders who visited the president, they talked about these issues, reconstitution of the IEBC with immediate effect. And then they were also worried about the CBC, the rolling of CBC. We have the junior secondary JSS. They're supposed to, join the high school. And there's an issue that there are no classes which are enough for them. They also raised that, and also they also reminded the president that he should slow down, he should asiendelee na kupromise mingi, afanye zile amepromise so far. So my question to you, Mr. Barak, is, the issue of reconstruction of the IBC, the construction of JSS classes, these are things that have been raised not once, not twice, but several times. How different is it that the president now is going to listen and maybe action on this? Since we have a list that we still have to talk about, you can also talk about, give us your opinion on the visit of Ruto to the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Mr. Miguda, I think we had that discussion with him. He gave us his opinion. So you can as well give us that your thought on that. And also the issue of injustice is a serious thing that we are still experiencing in this country. And during the Gen Z's demonstration, there's a number of people who were abducted and killed. Some of them were killed during the demonstration, and most of them have not gotten justice. We are being told that the case of what is his name? This young man just started today, that the police was being interrogated and is saying different stories. So you can give us your opinion on the injustice that we are still experiencing as a people, and also the visit by the president to the former president, and the proposals that were brought forth by the religious leaders, Mr. Barak.
Thank you, Mark. Well, I just want to say one thing. Before you give someone a mandate to lead you, you're supposed to assess or evaluate their personal attributes. Because, once the person assumes the office, those personal attributes, they do not stop, or they do not forsake them and then lead fast, then they come back and take them. So for example, if someone is stingy, let me just use that example. When they assume office, they do not stop being stingy, because that is their personal attribute. They just assume office, they hold those offices, but that attribute of being stingy, they still continue. If someone, for example, is some let me use example. Maybe someone is a liar. When they assume office, that attribute of lying does not stop, because it is part and parcel of their attributes. I think that is what people are not able to distinguish here. Because if you look at the president is someone who has been promising. So he cannot stop, because he's someone who is used to promising. If you remember during TNA URP, when they were talking about stadiums, if you remember the promise of stadium, and more than 10 years down the line, Kenya is playing home matches in Malawi, in Uganda. You can imagine. And when these guys were assuming office in 2013, as part of their manifesto, was that they were going to build modern stadiums in almost all the regions of this country. I think they were talking about 5 stadiums. Yeah, and can you imagine Harambee Stars playing home matches in Malawi? Sometimes I wonder, do we really have our memories? So you want to tell this president now to stop promising? And yes, he has been promising since 2013. Yeah, he came in office through promising. He said, when we put down the Bible, tukiweka tu Biblia chini, pap, mutaona. And when he put the Bible down, he continued promising. And when you complain, he promises again. When you complain, he promises. So Ruto and promises are like, we usually say in Kiswahili, chanda na pete. Haiwezi wachana. It's like a key and a padlock. You cannot have a key. A key cannot be useful minus a padlock. So you cannot remove promises from Ruto, or you cannot remove Ruto from the board. So I think these church leaders, they are just they are pretending as if they don't understand the personality or the personal attributes of the president, because the president is used to. And I can assure you, if he's given a microphone tomorrow, he will give fresh promises. Yeah. Just look. We are heading to the festive season, and he's going to be so generous with so many promises, and you will see. He will even forget that whatever he's promising, he already promised before. So I think if you don't understand him, that's when you will be surprised. Because if you understand his attributes, you will not be surprised, because you will understand that this guy has been promising. And the people forget, and he give promises, people forget. Like this year of stadium, people forgot. And right now, we are having our military now. They are renovating Kasarani and Nyayo Stadium, hoping that we will be allowed to host AFCON 2027 when Uganda and Tanzania are ready for AFCON. Yeah. So Kenya, I think we are going to be a laughing stock of the East African region very soon, because our neighbors are overtaking us in so many aspects. If to a point that we are going to play our home matches in Uganda and also or in Malawi, and you look at the stadium that they have, and we want to host AFCONs with them in partnership with Uganda and Tanzania. If we are not careful, I can assure you, even this we can be taken away from us. Because I think you saw we lost the right to host Chan the other day to Rwanda, because we don't have the capacity. You can imagine Kenya and Rwanda. Anyway, so my point is, anybody who is telling Ruto to stop promising do not understand who Ruto is. He does not understand the attributes of Ruto as the president, because he cannot stop promising because he's now the president. Even if you tell him to stop, he cannot, because that is his personal attribute. Now, Ruto visiting Uhuru, I think, to me, I think that was a good thing for the country, because there's nothing wrong with a sitting president visiting a retired president, because these are heads of state. And when they are in good terms, in fact, it is good for the country. It's good for the stability of the country. It's only that in Kenya, everything we politicize, because we don't want to have a situation where we are seeing a former head of state, his sheep are being robbed, his property is being vandalized, because he has bad blood with the sitting with the current regime. I think it is bad manners. Even it has never happened even in mature democracy. Once we have a retired president, this is a respected statesman, because he served and he retired. He was not defeated. So he must be accorded maximum respect. And that's why you see Uhuru is respected all over Africa and even beyond Africa. And that's why you see he's been involved in this election observed mission by the African Union, because he has been given that status of among the best African statesmen. So we must be happy that at least that bad blood between the current president and the former president is now being worked on, because it is not good for the country. And I believe that even though they might be meeting for other reasons, but for the country, it's a good reason. But this being two businessmen, also they might be meeting to discuss their businesses, because Ruto and Uhuru, they are one of the big business people we have in this country. So when they come together, even though they will talk about what they call issues of national interest, but this national interest, personal interest, comes first. We say that the realists usually say that human beings are very selfish, and anything they do, they put their selfish interest first. So it is me first, then the country. So if we are talking about anything that of national interest, my interest comes first, then the interest of the country can follow. And from my personal observation, I think that the absence of Gachagua from this government has opened a way for Ruto to have now a cordial relationship with Uhuru Kenyatta, because he can even be now wanting to access the votes of Mount Kenya region that he lost through the impeachment of Gachagua, through Uhuru Kenyatta, because Uhuru Kenyatta still has a say, even though they rejected him in 2022. But they are coming out to tell, they are coming back to tell him now, okay, you warned us against this Uhuru Kenyatta, against Ruto, but we didn't listen to you. But now all the things that you are telling us, we are now seeing them happening. So maybe he want to since he has fallen out with Gachagua, and the ground is so hostile to him, he might now be wanting a way of now to start appealing to the ground, because no president wants to lose power after only one term. So he's ready to go even out of his way to ensure that he at least, even if not all, but he rescues some votes that he has lost in Mount Kenya region. So we are going to see more of this. And there's rumors that also that even the cabinet is going to be reshuffled, and Uhuru's friends are going to be accommodated, so that he now starts having a soft landing in Mount Kenya region. So these are politics in play, and apart from politics playing out in this meeting, I think it is good for the country that we do not have a culture where the current regime is always antagonizing the former president, the retired president. Because once a president has retired, in fact, when things are going wrong in the country, they are the first people who should be called in, because at their status, served for 2 terms and retired, they should be able to restore sanity in a country. Because you remember when Moi retired in 2002, And when Kibaki was being sworn in at Uhuru Park, and even people threw mud at President Moi, and Moi went back to Kabaraks a bitter man. So when things went wrong for Kibaki, he had to. In fact, he didn't go to Kabaraks, but he called Moi to State House, and Moi came to State House, and he tried to give Kibaki his views on how he can stabilize the country, because Kibaki's fallout with Raila was destabilizing the government, and the country was becoming so volatile politically. So sometimes these retired presidents, they are assets of the country, that when the country is sinking, their opinion and their expertise is needed to restore sanity in the country. And I think even when the during Gen Z demonstration, and when Parliament was breached, that was a critical moment, that Ruto needed to reach out to Uhuru, being a retired the only retired president we have in the country. So these things happen even in mature democracy. You remember when America was facing a crisis, all the retired president went to White House to advise former President George Bush. And I remember even when earthquake hit Haiti, when Obama was still new in the White House, all the former president came to advise him on how to go about it. So it's a practice that is embraced in mature democracies, and it's a culture that we also need to embrace, because this issue of telling the president Maliza Wende, and we don't want anything to do with him, then when you get in office, you find that there's a lot of difficult things that we're encountering, and now you wish that he can come and advise you, but because of how you are not relating with him, you are embarrassed even to invite him. So we should not allow that culture to continue in this country, because once you serve, you should be treated with respect, even though we do not agree with your policies when you are in power. But as long as you retired in office, you should be accorded that respect. That's my opinion. I don't know if I've answered all your questions.
Yeah,
Back to you.
you'll give us your opinion on the issue of injustices, and if we are headed towards solving or giving justice as a country to those people who lost their lives. I would also want you to give your opinion on the issue of flooding that is happening in the Nyanza region, and especially in Kisumu, Kano area. There were government representatives who went over there, and they're saying that they're going to build some dike along River Nyando and along Lake Victoria. And they're saying that they're hopeful that this, maybe in the coming years, is going to help in trying to solve the flooding issue. They're also talking about the Korusoin Dam, that probably it is the right time that they need to do it, and they have a belief that it's going to solve the issue of flooding. While just still there were some comments that were made by members of parliament, a member of parliament, and also, ODM members. They're saying that these were the comments of member of parliament of Nyando, that Raila is going for the AUC seat, and he has left, according to him, I'm just quoting, he has left us with William Samoei Ruto, and we are going to stick with him until 2047. I don't know what that means politically. You can also give us your opinion on that. After that, Migude, you'll also come in to just generalize, and then we'll just finish. Mr. Barak.
Well, it's unfortunate that looking at the proceedings at Milimani Law Court, the police officer who is accused of shooting Rex during in fact, that was the beginning of Gen Z demonstration. He was talking, this thing that we see in news. When you watch news and you see that Rex was shot dead. To us, it is news. We just watched it, and sometimes we read about it in the dailies. But to the family of Rex, this is a reality that they have to live with. Every day they wake up in the morning, they see Rex grave, assuming that he was buried in their compound, maybe in the village. This is a reality that you have to live with. So when you see someone who is who was captured on camera shooting him talk the way that police officer was talking, it's unfortunate. And it's so insensitive even to the family of the late Rex. And uh, justice somehow, even if even sometimes you might even not find justice in the judiciary. But I can assure you, in this life, people find justice in different ways. If you look at people who thought that they were the mightiest of the mightiest, and you look at how their end came, I can assure you, there's a way that even nature sometimes can bring justice when the judicial systems fails, because you can even see that there's some kind of compromise to the whole process. You remember the office of the director of public prosecutions claimed that at some point the officer that was captured on camera shooting Rex could not be identified. And remember, we have a multi-billion-dollar facility here at DCI at the Kiambu Road that the government invested billions so that they can enhance their forensic analysis. Yeah, you can imagine even when you rob a supermarket putting on a mask, they can even remove that. They have the technology to remove that mask and see and identify that this is Mark. But when it's an officer shooting a civilian and killing, now that technology cannot really work. And you can see that this is something that is being orchestrated to shield the officer from facing the law. And it's unfortunate to the family. I really sympathize with the family of Rex and other people who are shot dead during the demonstration. As a country, we should be ashamed of ourselves when we can allow people to commit murder and get away with that murder. It is not good at all. And in fact, it's even lowering our ratings in terms of human rights index. So I believe that I hope that the justice will take its course, and every officer or everybody who committed murder will be brought to book, because that is what every family that lost a loved one is looking for. Because we lost so many young Kenyans, and that blood is crying for justice on the ground. And I hope and pray that justice will be found for all those that we lost during the demonstration. In terms of floods in Nyando, floods in Nyando is not new. It was there even. You remember even that lady that was very famous for Serikali's idea during Kibaki's government, and fortunately for her, she's the only one who benefited, because I think Safaricom took her and commercialized her voice. Serikali's idea, and she became a celebrity out of that. But what has the government been planning to do now? Leave alone even the county government. Because I believe county government of Kisumu, they lack the capacity to do anything, because they only go there to distribute one packet of maize flour and maybe nothing substantial to the people of Kisumu, of Ahero. Because these people have been living with this problem for many years. The government knows that when we have too much rains, not even too much rains, when you have rains, there must be a problem in Nyando and even this area of Ahero. But they usually wait until it rains, and then the floods come, and now people are displaced, and now they start distributing tents, they start distributing maize flour, and they don't have a long-term plan to salvage the situation. It's unfortunate, and we have people who are learned and educated in this country in terms of disaster management, even planning. Remember, Kisumu County, we have the professor as a governor and also a professor as a senator. Surely, these guys, they cannot come up with any plan to even if it means to seek for funding from outside, so that these people who live in these areas, they can have a lasting solution Instead of this, of living in fear of every time you see the rains coming, you start living in fear because you don't know when are you going to be displaced. I think it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we are living in this country, and we are electing people in office who cannot solve our problem. You know, the role of the government, the primary role of the government, is to solve problems. Yeah, no, to come and give handouts during problem. It is to solve, and one way of solving problem is to prevent them from happening. That is one way of solving problems. Yeah, if you know that when it rains every now and then, Ahero, Unyando, wherever, we will experience flooding, and this flooding always displaces the citizen. So what do you do? Do you buy maize flour and you wait for come and distribute in schools where people are seeking refuge? I don't think that's the way to go. And you, if when you listen to the area member of parliament, Jared Okello, saying that they were left with the Ruto and they're going to stick with the Ruto until 2047, and you know, and your people are being displaced by floods. Is surely I hope these people are going to make a better decision when come 2027, because the one that they have, no, it's not doing them any good. So that such statements are very unfortunate, and they make some such leaders look very lazy when it comes to reasoning and even their thinking capacity, because you know you cannot just play a sycophant when your people are suffering. Your people are sleeping outside their homes as a result of your incompetence. Yeah, it is unfortunate to have such a person that representing you at the National Assembly, and you are sleeping outside because of their incompetence. So I think we need, the government need to be serious. The county government of Kisumu should collaborate with the national government. They should partner and ensure that they bring solution to the people of Nyando, so that they can end this this subsequent suffering and displacement by floods of these people. These people are taxpayers, and they also need to see the government solving their problems, not always bringing them tents and maize flour during floody seasons. Back to you, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barak. It just reminded me that Kisumu is a county that is being led by professors. The governor is a professor, the senator is a professor, the deputy governor is a doctor, a good number of members of parliament are doctors. And so we expect them to do something. You know, the governor is someone who has knowledge in the planning, docket. He has a good knowledge of planning. Anyway, we just hope for the best. Yes, to our viewers, this is Brother Benson Media. If you are new to this channel, kindly like and subscribe, because if you do so, it is a way of supporting us, and we will really, really appreciate. Allow me to recognize the presence of Brenda Obedi at the comment section, Gitonga, Gypsy Corner, Judith Karuitha, and everyone who is watching. We really, really thank you so much for finding time to be with us this evening. We don't take it for granted. And to those of you who are engaging us at the comment section, we are very much grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Mr. Miguda, there's a question here from Gitonga. Maybe you can tell us where Maverick Aoko is. And then there's a comment here from Gypsy Corner saying, why are the politicians not holding the kidnappers into account? Why don't they acknowledge human rights? It's absurd. The government even diverts charity monetary to themselves. Is that painful? Gypsy Corner. It is not easy. Yeah. So, Mr. Miguda, what is your take on the proposals by the religious leaders, the issues to do with the IBC, the issues to do with the rolling of CBC, And also the issue of injustice that we are still facing. A majority of those people who got hurt and were killed during the demonstration have not found justice. And these are saying that justice delayed is justice denied. And you can also give us your take on Jared Okello's comments in his constituency at Nyando. And then you just give your last remarks as we close.
Thank you, Mark.
I'll just respond to three. I'll leave that of Nyando. That of Nyando, Baraka has really delved into it. The only thing I can just comment about is that the current TV for Nyando should focus on the mandate of the role of him as member of parliament. Let him not engage into national politics, like telling people William Ruto is going to work up to 2047. Let him just go and work for the people of Nyando. Maverick Kaoko,
Maverick Aoko, from the source I have, or the intelligence I've received right away, Maverick Aoko is under custody but is safe. That's what we have gathered from her personal assistant, that is Rose, and his political body. So I believe that she's safe, but under illegal custody. They just release her. There's no cause for alarm. Makubura, the issue of justice, you have quoted clearly that justice delayed is justice denied. That is true. And I agree with you in total that justice delayed is justice denied. As an individual, you need to get access to justice. And you should get access to justice irrespective of your status, be it the president, cabinet secretaries, police officer, commoner. You should get access to justice because that is your right. Also enshrined in our constitution. I think Article 48 talk about access to justice, and it is profound. You can link it further with other articles whereby you need to get access to justice irrespective of your status. The reason why I'm talking about the issue of justice is because of the current case of Rex versus the Rex. Currently, it is the state versus the police officer. The reason why I tend to have a different view because the police officer is very confident the way he's speaking, and there was a direct evidence. People saw a virtual or video whereby the police was shooting the deceased directly, was using firearms. The deceased was harmless, and he was using live rounds to the deceased. The scenario here, we found that the prosecutor right away, the prosecutor is representing the state in this case. And the defendant in this case is the police officer. Now, that's where there is a controversy. The police officer is a state officer. The prosecutor is a state officer. The defendant and the prosecutor are part and parcel of the state. But remember my statement that justice should be done irrespective of your status, be it the member of the public officer or a commoner, you should get justice. But the way we know how things work in Kenya, I don't want to comment about court. I'll leave court aside. But the people who are involved in that case, that's why that person was very confident. But I believe that the very way the prosecutor usually handle the people who have committed murder, the way they do handle commoners who do not have any rank in the state, just an ordinary person, a commoner. That's how they should handle that police officer. They should not treat him with any difference from the way they have been treating other people, even in the proceedings. And I believe that justice should be done to Rex, even if it's going to be transformative justice, whereby it can take some time. But the people or the person
or the family should be compensated. We have a very bad culture in this country because you understand, even in this country, we have participated in the International Criminal Court, whereby 2 individuals of this country, not two, 6 of them, were accused with crimes against humanity, and they were subjected to the International Criminal Court proceedings. They present themselves, and one of the reasons why they were acquitted or the case was thrown out is because there was interference with witnesses. Remember, during that time, whenever the prosecutor came to the country to collect some evidence, that is the Luis Moreno Campo, there were even our neighboring people like Jakaya Kikwete came, Condoleezza was here, and I believe Winnie Mandela was also here. They went further. Jakaya Kikwete went to Kibra and even tried to talk to people, the residents, who some were victims. The suspects were acquitted right now, and 2 of them actually have become presidents consecutively. The reason why I'm bringing this point is that up to now, the victims of the post-election violence, 2007, 2008, to date, they have never been compensated. Look at that scenario. The victims, the people who are killed, the people who are transferred from one location to the other, the people who lost their houses, the people who are born into the church, none of them have been compensated. You see how that we have a bad scenario as a country. If none has been compensated to date, that's my worry. The Gen Z who lost their lives, the Gen Z who some are seen as in their injuries, some were shot, some disappeared to date, some were abducted. Remember even how Denzel was killed and thrown in a quarry. So remember, if those people are not going to get justice, because you understand the example I've given you from the high profile case of the International Criminal Court. My worry here is the victims, the Gen Z victims, those people who were victims of the circumstances. How are they going to be compensated? If at all they can be compensated, I have no problem. Remember, this is why I'm bringing the issue of compensation. Baby Pendo, the victims who were interfered with during the 2017 demonstrations or peaceful demonstration by then NASA. Up to date, some have not been compensated. There was a time we were at Milimani Law Court, we found that police officer who shot Baby Pendo currently is under trial. And that's why we were very clear about the police officers during the Gen Z protest, that police officers, when it comes to accountability, when it comes to the time you're going to be prosecuted, you will be prosecuted you alone individually. You will not see William Ruto. You will not see the Inspector General of Police. You will not see CS for Interior. Reason is, during the time Bependo was shot, the police officer was during the reign of Uhuru Kenyatta. Kibisho was the Interior CS. I believe Matiang'i somebody was the CS for Interior. When the police officer currently is at Milimani Local, the case is still on. That police officer, none of these big men in the government has come for his aid, even as a witness or as a defendant. I don't know even they have hired for him a lawyer or not. I do not know whether he's doing that case by himself. This is why I'm trying to bring that issue of the Pendo case and the police officers, because I just want to try to enlighten our police officers. Even if you are in the street and you are in a point of engaging the unarmed civilian, do not apply or do not get unlawful orders. Don't apply unlawful orders to civilian people, because you don't know the person you are shooting. You might think that everybody on the street is a commoner, but you don't know the person you are shooting. The person might take the case serious for you. There are consequences. Unlawful orders should not be taken by the police officers, but let us respect peaceful demonstration. As we demonstrate peacefully, also the police has a duty to protect the protesters and the properties. And also to the demonstrators, they should just do it peacefully. They should not interfere the properties, and they should not even beat the police officers. They just do it peacefully. The reason why I'm bringing that issue, Makubra, justice even if it's delayed, because that was your first point. Even if it is denied or delayed, but the wheels of justice, they do roll slowly. One day they will catch up with you in whatever circumstance you are. The issue of IBC, I think we have talked about it in the previous video. We will not talk about it. I just want to emphasize the issue of CBC. CBC, that's a serious issue, and it's a reality that is living with us. That's why I don't see a scenario. A president is busy visiting Uhuru, visiting Raila, calling religious leader, but we have a problem of CBC. And to be precise, the senior secondary, junior, senior secondary, the infrastructure in the public schools. In the public schools, there are no infrastructure. Leave alone privates. Privates because some people do it. And that's why I told you that, like me, when I actually go to Nakuru County, I do visit those schools in Nakuru. And I have suggested that Nakuru have done it well, but private schools, not public schools. Public schools, as a country, we are lagging behind. And it's the duty of the government to ensure that we have better facilities for learners to learn, because that is their role. Economic and social rights for Kenyan people is the duty of every government to take care of any learner, that he or she must make sure that that learner got proper infrastructure. And my worry is, now we are going to open schools next month. How are we going to do this transition from junior to senior? We don't have infrastructure right away. That's why we are telling Kenyans, even if people do not want you to criticize this government, they're arresting people, abducting people like Aoko, they're compelling you not to express your freedom of speech. But the good news is, next month, that reality will hit the government, that there were no enough infrastructure. And we don't know how our learners are going to do it without proper infrastructure. Back to you, Makuburi.
Okay. There's a question here that you can just give your opinion before I. There's a comment here from a good friend. Why are the people using Maverick or social media? It's causing a lot of concern. Sorry, Migoda, there is a balance, truth, and lies about the whole thing. Okay. I don't know whether you have full information on that. Personally, I do not have.
Actually, I do not have whether people are using his X account. What I can testify, and me personally, I've met Aoko at personal level. Actually, we have even hosted Aoko in this channel. If you go to one of our videos, go to Brother Benson Media, then click Maverick Aoko, you'll find her. We were talking with her here. What I can say without fear of any consequence is that Maverick Aoko has got a PA by the name Rose. Rose usually use that X space, that account for Aoko. Whenever Aoko is in custody, Rose usually use it, and mostly the person who's using that account is Aoko most of the time, because even there was a time we traveled with her together for like 8 hours drive, and she was constant on her phone just tweeting. I don't know, maybe, but that's the Makubula. The information I'm having right now is that Aoko is being held into custody illegally against her will. That's enough for now. I don't know much about it.
Okay, fine. Thank you. To everyone who joined, she came to PM. Oh, very nice. Very nice if you are there. Yes, so maybe we'll try get the right information and we'll share with you once we have the full update. To everyone who joined, this is Brother Benson Media, and here we say that your opinion counts. If you're new here, we request you to kindly like and subscribe to the channel, because if you do so, it is a way of supporting us and we'll really, really appreciate. I'm taking this opportunity to thank those who engaged us at the comment section. Gypsy Corner, asante sana kwa wakati wako. Brenda Obedi, asante sana. Gitonga, asante sana. Judith Karuitha, asante sana, na wale wote ambao wako kwa the viewing section, those of you who did not comment, we really appreciate, and we are very happy that you took your time to be with us at this time. We don't take it for granted. It is an honor that you've given to us. Allow me to take this opportunity to give Mr. Barak to say his last remarks, and then we go there, and then we'll close. Mr. Barak? Maybe Bigoda, you can go first before Barak comes.
Oh, I'm here. Thank you so much, our viewers, and my co-panelists, Miguda and Mark, and also Ben, who has already left. It was a good session, and thank you for all our viewers who have kept us engaged through the comment section. And your contribution is very important, and for us.
By the we Japsai Corner, there's a soda and everything that you did send, we did receive. We are very much grateful. Tunasema ni asante. Yeah,
Tunasema ni Sunday. Thank you so much for that, and we really appreciate your support. Kwa hali na mali tunashukuru sana, na tunaomba wale ambao wanazidi kujoin, keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep commenting, and we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Stay blessed, and we love you all. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Barak. Meguda?
Thank you so much, Makobura, for hosting us this night. Thank you, Barak, for coming in. I just want to be grateful to Jepsai Corner for supporting this channel. And kama mtetezi ya wanyonge, wacha nitetee. Unajua vile tumekuwa tuki-host wale marafiki zetu kutoka Jakaranda. Siku ya kwanza vile Songa came, Songa alipata soda. Mjukuu pia alipata soda. Almost 1 hour was unlucky. Jepsa Kona was around but hakupata soda. Sasa kama mtetezi wa haki wanyonge natetea Almost, lakini thank you so much for soda. Watu kama sisi, kwa mfano mtu kama mimi, wacha nijiongelee. Mimi kunywa soda ni tu ile siku ya Christmas 25th, lakini vizuri sana nimekunywa soda before 25th. Thank you so much, viewers. See you next time. Bye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Megoda. To all our viewers, we are very much grateful for taking your time to be with us. We are kindly requesting you to share our channel with your friends or people around you, so that we can have a good, bigger family, so that we can always be engaging with a bigger group. Above all, we thank God to this extent that we've reached. And I'm taking this opportunity to wish you all a blessed night, a blessed morning, a blessed afternoon, a blessed evening. Until tomorrow, thank you so much, and may God bless you, and bye-bye.